This game is heating up, folks. Frank squares up like a butcher block on defense. Audie with the fadeaway. She's on fire! Literally, that is. The net has been burned to a crisp.
Come on, boys, come on here. Watch out!
Shane Gillis, live on stage.
I'm a bit of a history buff, which, by the way, that is early onset Republican.
His biggest tour ever is coming to Des Moines.
You're a white dude in your 20s and 30s, and you're like, I can't stop reading about World War II. It's coming, brother.
See Shane Gillis with his unmistakable comedic style. Live at Wells Fargo Arena Saturday, May 31st. Get tickets now at iowaeventcenter.com. For more, visit ShaneMGillis.com.
Two guys, two Chris's, one network. Iowa Everywhere. It's time for Two Guys with Chris Williams and Chris Hassel. Presented by Fareway Meat and Grocery from the Channel Seed Studios. Where? Everywhere. Live and always on demand at Iowa Everywhere.
All right. Well done, Van Winkle. Welcome to the program. Chris and Chris, it is the 17th of March. We are presented, as always, by Fareway Meat and Grocery. How are you, Chris?
You look like the Kool-Aid man today with your bright red game day sweatshirt on.
I have a couple of game day shirts that I exclusively wear in public gyms now because I want everyone to know, oh my God, that guy is flowing with testosterone.
Teed up, baby.
Welcome to the show. We are always in the Channel Seed Studios. Shout out to all of our friends at Channel for supporting us as long as they have. God bless them. It's St. Patrick's Day. Mike just pointed that out in the comments. I didn't even think about that.
St. Patrick's Day felt like Saturday to me because we had our parade in town here in Delray, and everybody was getting drunk and belligerent out on the street all day.
And you didn't join them?
Nah. I'm half Irish, but I've never really been a big St. Patrick's Day guy. Are you really?
Yeah. Livingston,
Yeah,
my mama.
In fact, I don't ever remember even celebrating St. Patrick's Day. Ever. Like, I don't ever remember doing going to a bar on St. Patrick's Day wearing green. Never had green beer.
I didn't do it a lot either. I did a couple of friends would have like parties and stuff, and you go, but it wasn't ever a big deal to me. I always tell you like that my 10-year-old is the coolest person I know. Her favorite holiday is St. Patrick's Day because she just wants to be different. Because she's just like, screw all you people. This is
so. What is she doing for it?
I don't know. She's still sleeping.
So nothing.
Probably not.
Man, we got so many huge stories today.
Yeah,
and I don't know where to start because you've got the Iowa looking for a new coach that could happen really soon because West Virginia didn't make the tournament. But the Keshon Gilbert thing,
I think you have to start there, and then we funnel into Drake, and then we get to Iowa because I actually feel like there's more meat to pick off the bone with Iowa than anything. Because I do think Iowa could have a new coach by the time Iowa State even plays in the tournament.
It's possible. This could happen real quick. I mean, Darian DeVries is undoubtedly the front runner right now to get this job from everything we've heard. It's going to be whether or not she wants to take a harder look at other candidates as well. Because I think she can get this done. I think she can make this happen now.
I told you on Friday, and I would triple down on it right now. I would go all in to get this done.
Might as well. I mean,
I mean, there are other very good candidates. There's no
Sure.
doubt, but this one will mend that fan base more than any of the others. And and McCollum could be a better coach down the road. I don't know how that will all work out, but this one just it seems perfect. This is such a terrible example because it didn't work out. But this reminds me a little bit of Remember when Scott Frost was available and Nebraska needed a coach? It was like a no-brainer. You had to hire that guy.
Yeah.
And I know it didn't work, so that's not perfect. But I always thought Darian DeVries would be the next head coach at Iowa.
Well, it's been one of his dream jobs. I mean, he was a guy that tried to get the Drake job several times. It was turned down. So he stayed at Creighton on McDermott's staff, and then finally Drake opens because he wanted to get back into Iowa. And it's almost like too good to be true. And I have said that I do think McCollum might have a higher ceiling, but I don't think you can risk that if you're Beth Goetz. I think this is the one that's going to engage the fan base, and you just hit the ground running and engage it right away with a guy with an Iowan who has a brother that was an all-time great for the football program. It's just too good to be true.
I would agree. Don't overthink this. Overthinking today at noon.
Big day coming up. And then Murph and Andy
at 1. And I'm doing a CW pod right after this with Randy Peterson, where we are going to dig deeper into the Keshon Gilbert story. Randy is also a Drake alum. He won't tell anyone because he doesn't want anyone to think he's a fan of anything. But I think Randy roots for Drake.
Not that there's anything wrong with
I root for Drake. Go Dogs.
I'm more of a Kendrick guy. Okay, Iowa State. I swear, Chris, I had no idea that Keshon news was coming yesterday. I found out at TJ Otzelberger's press conference, like everybody.
Well, I don't think anybody did.
Yeah. So from what I understand, that decision was made talking 30 minutes to an hour before the selection show. I believe Matt's got some video. Let's see what Coach had to say.
With Taman, he's progressing well, and each day he's getting better. And so we fully anticipate he'll be ready to go for our game on Friday.
He's talking about Taman
with Keshon, we've decided that he needs to focus on his rehab and getting his body back right, so he won't be available as we move forward.
And that was pretty much it. The follow-up question was asked, and he pretty much avoided it and pushed it on to the guys who would be playing. Now, Keshon, you can see Keshon Gilbert is part of the selection show here. He's clapping right there in the front row. Curtis Jones is his best friend. They live together. And then he also put out a tweet shortly afterwards saying, I don't have the words in front of me, but paraphrasing, there's nothing else to it. I can't get over this injury. My guys are going to go make you proud in Milwaukee. So
seems to me and I think a lot of fans read into what TJ's how TJ crafted that comment, that TJ is frustrated with how Gilbert is reacting to this injury. And this is just me reading into it. It seems to me like they might think that he could play through this, and he's just not willing to do it.
It feels like Iowa State is over the day-to-day questioning.
Mm-hmm.
That was the vibe I got yesterday, is, Chris, that this is a situation where they feel like they have a better chance to make a run if they get rid of – because this has become a distraction in the locker room. Every media session I was at last week in Kansas City, this is the first question asked. And he's, the thing is, when you see him, he looks fine, because he said it was a groin when I talked to him on Wednesday in the locker room. But he didn't play well on Wednesday. And if you look at his stats over the last 10 games, I mean, they've deteriorated greatly. He hasn't been the player, the guy I kept hoping Iowa State would get back. He hasn't been that guy really since he was on the cover of Slam magazine. It's crazy. Like, if you think about December, he was like a Wooden Award guy.
He was the best player in the country, it seemed like, for a stretch. Like, he was a first-team All-American.
Yeah. You think about after Maui, like, in that area, like, it was. And then, So I think that they believe if we're going to go to war with, and everybody's going to know their role, and they're not going to be wondering who's coming back into the lineup, who's not. I believe Otz is playing this card because he thinks it gives him the best chance to win. From a basketball standpoint, I told you this. We'll talk about your brother-in-law. I think offensively it's a good move for Iowa State. Like, I do think that they are more efficient at this point. Again, if you're going to get good Keshon, like, that's not the case. I'd always rather have him. But if you get the Keshon you've had for the last month and a half, 2 months, I do think that they are a more efficient, probably better offensive team. You're really limited defensively now. Like, he's one of the best on-ball defenders in the country. And, boy, I would have loved to have him against BYU, and they hit 18 threes the other day, right? Good news is so is Taman Lipsey, as long as he's healthy. But I think that's the chess move Otzelberger's playing here, is that we are going to just make a decision, get it out of the way. Everybody knows what they have to do heading into the NCAA tournament.
It's just really surprising and eyebrow-raising that he's ruling Gilbert out for the rest of the season. Yeah. Like,
that's what's shocking, because it's like, what if you get to the Final Four and he's fine?
There's clearly more to this than I know. I don't have any inside information on this. I'm just reading into it, and I think all the fans, like, something smells here. Like, there's something else that we don't know.
I believe, like, from a pure, like, injury standpoint, that he absolutely had and has an injury.
Sure.
I think what has happened.
I'm not questioning whether or not he has the injury. I think that they believe that if he had a little Taman in him, that he'd play through it.
I believe, and there's not a lot of guys like Taman, but that's well said. I think what's happened is the injury has impacted him so much that now it's mental, and he can't do the things that he used to be able to do. He gets frustrated. He's had a couple of technicals. He's turning the ball over. In his last 10 games playing, he's turning the ball over 4.5 times per game.
Yeah, the turnovers is a big part of this.
So I think the frustration is all the way around, because it's like the team needs him to be Keshon, not something, right? Like, does that make sense? Like, they need him to fit the role that they need him to fit, and if he's not able to do that anymore because of whatever this mental block is, and I'm just speculating on that, but it certainly looks that way. I said this like a month and a half ago on my show with Bloom on Cyclone Fanatic. I go, he just looks frustrated all the time. Yeah. And
you were even reading into on our last show the way he was responding to questions.
I didn't like his interview session after the Cincinnati game. It seemed he was kind of like laughing and like, I don't want to be too quick to judge, because that's just kind of who Key is. Like, he's that's just kind of him. But it didn't give off great body language like, hey, I'm going to be ready. I'm going to war with my team. It was all about, I got to get my that was the vibe it put off. And I know I wasn't alone, because I put that video out on Twitter and I had 15 fans texting me right away like, I don't feel good about this. So, again, I'm reading into it. This is a bit of a speculation, or this was a bit of a distraction. And I think Otzelberger said, we're just going to pull the plug now and get this thing done. That's the vibe I got.
So now, what does the rotation look like going into this thing? Is Kelderman going to play big minutes again?
My guess is that he will play. You start Heisey still.
Or do you just shorten everything?
I would do that. That would be I would just play Taman and Curtis 40 minutes a game. That's what I would do.
Because this is it. I mean, there's no more getting right this is it.
Like, there's no developing, there's none of that. Like, it's it's die if you lose.
Well, when you look at the BYU game, when obviously Gilbert didn't play, they went 8 deep. Kelderman got the most minutes off the bench with 18. Chatfield 12, Watson 5.
This whole season sucks, man. Just being real with you. Like, it just sucks. Like,
it's shaping up to be a pretty big disappointment if they can't get this thing.
What are I have this
at least into the Sweet 16?
Well, they are favored to get to the Sweet 16 according to Vegas. They're 50-50 to get.
Well,
there.
as they should be. Shit, they're the 3 seed.
Yeah, but that doesn't always mean anything. I mean,
but you should be. I mean, if you're a 3 seed, that you should be minus money every single time to get to the Sweet 16.
You're minus 115 to get to the Sweet 16. It opened higher. It opened at like 140.
I will say,
after the Gilbert news came out.
I don't like that they might have to play North Carolina in the second round. Maybe that doesn't happen.
Bloom said the same thing.
I don't like that. North Carolina is playing. I know that maybe they don't deserve to be in because they have one quad 1 win, but they've been playing some pretty good basketball. They've got some really high level players. They've made runs before under Hubert Davis. They did it his first year, made it to the Final Four. There's something about that I don't love. And maybe it ends up being Ole Miss. And I don't know much about Ole Miss. I'm just going to say that right now.
I did a deep dive.
They've got a damn good coach in Chris Beard, though.
They are a lot like Iowa State.
And is that good or bad?
Well, I'm not even saying stylistically. I'm saying if you look at their schedule, they started off really hot, lost like 1 game in the first 2 months of the season, and they've lost 5 of 7 going into the tournament.
They're one of those teams in the SEC that had a lot of chances at quad 1 wins and picked up a few, and we're going to see if that conference is overrated right away. I think the committee, I'm stunned that they gave Iowa State that Milwaukee slot over Wisconsin.
That's as good of a draw as Iowa State has ever gotten in the NCAA tournament.
Probably. I mean, it's a tough region overall. It's going to be tough to get out of with Michigan State and Auburn, but when you look at the location, the seed, it couldn't have been any better.
Have you seen the fan bases that are going to be in Milwaukee?
Mm-mm.
So, assuming North Carolina wins in Dayton, you're going to have Iowa State, because you know that place will be full of Cardinal. Kentucky, North Carolina, and Illinois.
Wow.
Are all going to be. So that place is going to be absolutely crazy.
Yeah. It's going to make tickets more expensive if that's the case.
Yeah. So I agree. I was so elated when the bracket came out. I'm like, oh my God, this set up perfectly. And then the Gilbert news hit, and it just kind of deflated everything. And I want to make it. I understand what Iowa State's doing here. Like, to me, it makes a lot of sense. If you don't think there's any chance this, like, just go ahead and rip the Band-Aid off and let everybody get ready. But it's just another, like, we haven't seen this team healthy since the Iowa game, like the last actual game that mattered.
You had a couple games there. After Mom Chili Beach came back, right?
But Keshon was kind of jacked at that point.
It
was just like I don't even know what they are anymore. I do know that they, without those guys, scored 92 against BYU, so they have it in them.
Where do you think the committee would have put them if they knew Gilbert wasn't going to play?
I think that they should have been a 4 if that was the case.
I think so too. I think they would have dropped him.
Good move on Iowa State to not let that out.
Yeah. Jeez.
Good. I mean,
I
get
think
it why they waited and did it when that makes a lot of sense.
I think that nationally, Seth Davis was saying it on the CBS broadcast. He was going to have Iowa State in his Final Four, and then the Gilbert news came out, and so he switched it. I think he went with Michigan State. I think nationally they're going to think it's a bigger deal than maybe you think at a local level, because Gilbert just hasn't been Gilbert the last month or so? Like, it's not like he was that guy. It's not like they're losing that guy, because that guy wasn't coming back.
It's like I said to you on Friday on the show. I'm like, he's not like LeBron, okay? Like, any of these guys, these college athletes are not, it's easy for Kyrie to just flip a switch in the playoffs, or Luka, right? Like, college guys aren't like that usually, where it's just like, oh, all right, the NCAA tournament's here, let's go. No, like in March 1st, you kind of are who you are, usually. And that's why I was skeptical on Friday. I was more worried about Lipsey's injury than I am Gilbert. I was disappointed because I thought going into the Big 12 tournament, the vibe I was getting, and I think this is what Otzelberger was trying to do, was to get it right in Kansas City with Gilbert. He had that I was optimistic on Tuesday when I got to Kansas City. I talked to Keshon. I talked to all those guys. Like, the vibes were great. Keshon had been practicing, and then he could only go like 10 minutes against Cincinnati or whatever it was, and that was it. His vibe after the game was not. It didn't seem like this guy who's ready to go to war for his team. It didn't feel like that.
It also didn't seem like a guy that was really, because you'd think if you can only do that in that game, you'd be really disappointed, in your body and how it reacted and maybe what it means for the future. And it just, it did not seem that way.
No. So that is our situation here with Iowa State. Let's thank our friends at Kaburski's. Let's thank those daggum Kabursky brothers. It's going to be in the 70s today in Iowa. You need the daggum Kabursky brothers to do your chemicals this year.
They're going to be spreading all their fertilizer on my yard this year.
Oh, yeah?
Just talk to them. Yep.
Nice.
Let's go.
Nice.
Really? Yeah.
Okay.
They busy time of year coming up. You got to get your lawn services done. Contact the daggum Kabursky brothers and thank them for supporting Two Guys on Iowa Everywhere. See me wearing my Game Day Men's Health sweatshirt today, all teed up. Just so much tea flowing through my body. And it was almost exactly a year ago since I walked into their doors for the first time.
You're just
I'm
going to
very
get
appreciative of that.
Shot up with a bunch of tea before you head out on the road.
Oh, yeah. Oh,
yeah. We should do a side-by-side, Williams, of you at the year anniversary.
Could do that. I got them somewhere. Okay, Drake gets Missouri. Couple of familiar faces. I forgot Caleb Grill gets a lot of attention. Tony Perkins doesn't get as much, but yeah, so it's Perkins and Grill.
And Perkins is starting to elevate his game.
He is.
You look at his numbers, and they're not great for the season. Like, certainly not what you would expect. But I saw a lot of Missouri in the SEC tournament, and he was really good and really impactful in Missouri's games. I don't know about this draw. I'm glad they didn't get like an Oregon. I was really worried they were going to have to go up against a team like that. I think Drake is going to be overmatched athletically a lot by pretty much any team that they could have faced. But this seems like it could be a decent spot here for the Bulldogs. Missouri's, one of those SEC teams that, okay, like Ole Miss, I don't know. Got a lot of pieces they threw together. This team weren't they winless in the SEC last year?
Yeah, they were terrible. Because I remember I was really interested in how Grill would do, and it was hard to watch them.
So if you start, you get a Drake team they're going to have, I think anyway, a major coaching advantage in this game. They're going to have a great scouting report with a full week, full 3-4 days to prepare for this thing, to really get in their grill, so to speak. And they're going to be a fan favorite down there. And have we seen a look-ahead line for this game?
Yeah, it's 6.5.
Okay.
I would take Drake.
I would too right now. But have you looked at And do you remember just the pain that Drake fans have gone through in the first round of tournaments? They haven't won a first round tournament game since 1971. That's the last time they got to the round of 32. 1971. They won that first four game in Dayton.
Against Wichita.
Did we count that?
Well, I mean, it's a tournament win, but it's not a first round win. And so I was going back and looking at what they've done. Of course, if we're old enough, we all remember the biggest heartbreak of all back in 2008 when they were a 5 seed and they go into overtime against Western Kentucky after coming back from like 15 down. They go up. They finally take the lead. They're going to win the game. And Western Kentucky hits a 30-foot shot to win the game at the buzzer. Just heartbreaking. Then you have the Darian DeVries era, and back-to-back real heartbreakers this team is coming off of. 2 years ago, they had an 8-point lead on Miami with 5 minutes left in the game. Up 8, 5 minutes left. They give up a 16-1 run to end the game and lose. And last year against Washington State, they had an 8-point lead with 7 minutes left.
Yeah, I was there.
And blew that. Gave up a 20-7 run to end the game. It's time for Drake to get this done. Win a game, maybe go on a Cinderella run. They've got the coach to do it. I trust him in tournament situations. Ben McCollum is going to have a coaching advantage over pretty much anybody he faces.
You think he goes to Indiana? I don't want to ruin this for Drake fans.
I think he goes somewhere.
Okay. I agree with you. I really like him. I think he's got this superstar ability. I would love to have him for one more year in our state. Like I just does it matter if he you know what, it shouldn't if you're Indiana or whoever. Like if Drake gets to the Sweet 16, you just wait for him if that's your guy.
Yeah. I don't know. Indiana, it sounds like it's between McCollum and Brad Brownell at Clemson is the last report I heard.
Come on, Indiana. That'd be a bad hire. I hate all things Clemson. You know that. He's been around Dabo too much.
Dabo. Yeah, he's been at Clemson a long time, and
that guy's been there forever.
A lot more success than a lot of people think because Clemson's kind of off the radar in the ACC, but they were an Elite Eight team last year.
Speaking of the ACC, can I little bracket talk here?
Yeah.
You okay with a little bracket talk?
Sure.
I think that Auburn got a brutal draw. I would rather have Iowa State's draw as a 3 seed than Auburn's as a 1.
Really? What'd they
Louisville in the second round potentially, or Creighton. Louisville is like, they're really good. I don't know how much you've watched them. Like,
they went like 18-2 in the ACC.
Yeah, like they were right there with Duke. Like, I just think that was a bad draw for Auburn.
It's not a good draw for a 1 seed in the number 1 overall.
And you potentially have
seed.
to get that red hot Michigan team in the Sweet 16.
And here's what I hate if I'm an Auburn fan most of all. We've been to Kentucky when Louisville has been at the site that we're at.
Oh, yeah.
We see what those fans are like. You might have to play Louisville in Lexington in the second round.
Those fans are nuts, man.
Completely nuts. We were
I don't know.
that year Royce White was with Iowa State, and we were out in Louisville, and it was Louisville and Kentucky at that same site.
Yep.
Jeez. The shoot-arounds for those teams.
God.
There were 15,000 people in the stands.
The Kentucky fans, so the second year Iowa State was there, it was when they lost to UAB, and that arena was pretty much all Kentucky fans rooting against Iowa State in that game. Yeah, the Kentucky fans are next level. That was of all the 1 seeds that popped out at me is like, God, that sucks for them because I mean, what Auburn will be definitely a single-digit favorite in that second game.
I think this is the going to be the most hotly contested region, and when you look at the odds to get out of specific regions, that backs it up. Auburn is plus 100, Michigan State plus 490, Iowa State plus 500. It's the only region that has 3 teams at 5-1 or shorter to get out of it. Every other region, that third team is Gonzaga plus 850 in the Midwest, Arizona plus 750 in the East, St. John's plus 600 in the West, and then Iowa State plus 500 in the South. Those are the number 3 team to get out of that region. So it's the only one with shorter than 5-1 odds for 3 different teams. But again, if you're an Iowa State fan, I don't think you can look.
I'm worried about
too
the
far
first
ahead.
game.
Yeah,
honestly,
Yeah, what do we know about Lipscomb? All I know is that they're in Nashville.
Lipscomb. The good news. I'll give you the bad news first. Elite 3-point shooting team.
Oh God. Look ahead line is minus 13.5. Iowa State.
It was 14.5. So so it's steamed down a little bit. The good news is that they are not very athletic at all. In theory, they remind me a lot of BYU, except they are they're like a mid-major, low-major BYU. So that's bad because I would rather not play a team like that. It's good because if Iowa State, I don't see how they can really match up with Iowa State's bigs and that type of thing. But one of those teams, it's like they get hot, and Iowa State hasn't exactly defended the 3-point ball well lately. And now you lost your best cover corner in the league going into this. Nothing would surprise me. Absolutely nothing would surprise me with this team going into the week. I would not be surprised if they lost. I would not be surprised if they go to the second weekend. Anything. Really.
But boy, if they don't get out of this first weekend, this is going to go down as an all-time disappointing season.
It reminds me of, this is way too inside Cyclone. McCarney had a team in 2005 that should have won 10 games. The schedule was there, they had the talent, and then shit just kept happening, and they just couldn't do anything with it.
Right now, what is the most disappointing Iowa State men's basketball season in your lifetime?
It's the UAB loss, right? Has to be.
Yeah, I mean, the season was really good, though, right? The regular season was really good, and didn't they win the tournament that year? It was just the total crash out.
I think it
in
was
the first round.
First year when they had Niang, Morris, all those. When Fred went to the Bulls, they went to the Sweet 16, but they did not even come close to reaching their potential that year.
Really? Okay.
I mean, honestly,
that.
They were a
I
5
understand.
seed or a 4 seed or whatever. That team was ranked in the top 5 to start, a lot like this year. But that team didn't have the injuries; they just didn't play very well.
Mm-hmm.
So, to me, that one was more this one. I can at least say I can point at why this happened.
Mm-hmm.
That one was just incompetence.
I think Randy might be right in if you're of age. It's the losing as a 15 seed to Hampton, and now that we know what was going on with that team, thanks to the Paul Shirleys of the world, that probably makes sense. They were a 2 seed, but they were teetering.
I agree, Randy. But I know because I've interviewed Shirley and those guys what the hell was going on. So it's that doesn't really surprise me. With this year's team, it's yes, it's massively disappointed, but I also know that they haven't been at full. They've been playing
But that's part of the disappointment is that
correct.
that you couldn't stay healthy. That's part of it.
I think that prom year was the other one. And I feel like I'm picking on Steve here. When they lost to Purdue that year with Deontay Burton, that was one of the worst coaching jobs I've ever seen.
Brent says
they were playing.
Brent says that I'm clearly not a Cyclone fan if I think that this would be an all-time disappointing season.
I don't know. I don't think you're being
look.
crazy.
I'm not telling you how to think, but You were ranked number 2 in the country for a good part of this season. Thought of as a preseason top 5.
That fucking shot at
in
Arizona.
the top 10 forever. Okay? You've got everything. You've got the coach. You've got the players. You almost at one point had so many great players that it seemed like you had too much and not enough to spread around. And then you don't even compete for a Big 12 championship. Houston runs away with it again. You lose to BYU. You lose a couple of games at home. You lose to BYU early on in the Big 12 tournament. Gilbert's out for the season. I'm saying if you don't make it out of this opening weekend, this absolutely has to go down as one of the most disappointing seasons in Iowa State men's basketball history. It has to.
Is that shot at Arizona. You remember how
that's when it all started going down.
Do you remember how depleted I was?
Yeah.
I couldn't even talk.
You said that was one of the most heartbreaking losses of your entire fandom in any sport.
I ranked it with Gary Anderson in the NFC Championship game. 1998.
Wow. And Brent says, yes, but we have 2/5 of our starters with bad injuries. That's part of it, though. Like, I'm not saying it's embarrassing season. I'm not saying it's just disappointing because of all of the stuff that's happened.
It's
all
so
of the
defensive,
injuries.
people.
That is part of the disappointment. I mean, like,
I think you're totally fair.
As an Iowa fan, like, one of my most disappointing seasons is 2009 because I thought they had the team that could really beat everybody. And Ricky Stanzi got hurt. And so they lost that game at against Northwestern when he got hurt. They wouldn't have lost it if he didn't get hurt. I think they would have beaten Ohio State at the Horseshoe, even though Vandenberg played a great game. Sure, they ended up going to the Orange Bowl and winning that, but I think they could have been undefeated that season if Stanzi did not get hurt.
Steve is calling us sad Sallies.
To his point, to some people, the season's not over yet. I'm just saying.
That's why I just said I could see anything happening.
If
If
they crash out in the first weekend, then you start talking disappointing seasons.
And if they get to the Sweet 16, they could beat Michigan State.
Yeah. I agree.
You guys are too sensitive. Kyle, this conversation should happen after the season, not the Monday before the tourney even starts. Well, I'm sorry that they made the Gilbert news come out yesterday. That's not our fault. You guys, come on. Let's not be as sensitive. Acting like Fran McCaffery in the chat this morning. We are presented by our friends at Fareway Meat and Grocery. I want to give a shout out to the Iowa Corn Growers Association and the Corn Checkoff. Hassel, did you know Iowa is the #1 corn growing state in the country? Of course you did. It's in our DNA. True story last night. We're having dinner. I made a nice dinner for the family. We were going to eat. We sat down and ate dinner at 4 o'clock, the early bird special before the selection show. And I made sweet corn. And my daughter Cameron, again, trivia about Cameron, who is she? She's the coolest person on the planet. Her exact quote goes, "You're not really an Iowan if you don't like corn." And I said, "You're goddamn right, Cameron. You're correct."
We have a friend, Sarah, who has never been to Iowa. She's from the East Coast. She is going to make a trip to Iowa in August at some point over the next few years, specifically just so she can have the sweet corn.
There you go.
Pump it up.
We're not playing that again. All right. Okay, so West Virginia doesn't make the tournament, and I was secretly hoping that West Virginia would make a run to the Elite Eight.
I think a lot of Iowa State fans were.
I mean, this is just best case scenario for Iowa here. Like this, because your AD makes the tough decision fast, and then your guy, presumably your #1 target. I'll put it like this, and I don't know anything. I have enough enough sources to make an educated guess. I had the line at -200. DeVries would be the next head coach on Friday. I would put it at -350 today.
Wow, -350. Iowa hiring Darian DeVries. I'm right there with you. I'll put some money down on that. I will lay that number.
Wow, you're going to lay it. Okay.
I think it's going to happen. And it's going to reinvigorate this fan base really quickly. Really quickly. And move on to this next chapter that we need to. We need to move forward. We can, the Fran thing, we can just move on from that. Like, I think he hasn't even made a statement or anything. I'm interested to hear whenever he does talk about this, what he says.
Well, I will say this, and none of this surprises me, but the Fran, the people connected to him have not given off a great look.
There's been a lot of deleted tweets from assistant coaches.
Did Connor delete the clown one, or is that still
He
up?
did. Connor McCaffrey tweeted a bunch of clown heads.
Pretty bad look. You given scholarships. Families made millions upon millions of dollars. You were given 15 years.
Yeah, it's not like he's going to be getting unemployment here. He's leaving town with $4.2 million.
After 15 years.
Yeah, he's made over $30 million from
how rare it is
Iowa.
to say to be allowed to stay in one place for 15 years when you've never been to a Sweet 16.
Yeah.
It's a bad look.
I think there's only one other power coach that's done that, and it's Tad Boyle at Colorado. I think he's in his 15th year, and they've never made
and that's really a program that
Sweet
doesn't
16.
care about basketball.
If
Tad
you-
Boyle's also an incredibly nice human. He's well liked out there.
If you want a more of a peek behind the curtain as to, why, despite some on-court success, that this was it for Fran McCaffery, I think listen to Legends and Listeners. They recorded this morning, and Scott Docterman had some interesting things to say. One of them was that Margaret McCaffrey flipped off a referee at, I think it was Iowa's last home game, and in front of everybody. And that was the ref that teed up Fran McCaffery and tossed him from the game at the Big Ten tournament. It's stuff like that.
Legend Listeners.
You might, he didn't do anything. Well, there's history here. There's a lot of history. Yes, and if you and Andy Fales did a full What's Buggin' Andy that you can find, I believe, on the Sound Off page. They tweeted out a link where he really gets into just some of the things that have happened that not everybody knows about. And I'm sure they'll talk about it a lot more on the show today. But just some really disturbing things that
I remember
that have
the
happened
Coaches
over the
versus
years.
Cancer night because I got a call immediately following it, and I won't say from who, but it wasn't anybody in the Murphy clan. It was somebody. It was another one of the who was with the Power 4 coaches that were at that event, and they could not believe what they just seen.
And Andy kind of lays out what happened in the What's Buggin' Andy. If you haven't listened to it, we'll let you guys do that. And we're not going to get into it a ton here just because I know that Murph and Andy are going to talk about it today. But, I mean, heckling the McCaffrey family, heckling Keith Murphy at a Coaches versus Cancer event, it's just, look, there's a lot of people that will stick up for Fran because of what he's done for them, and that's fine.
Yeah.
And we're going to stick up for our guys too. And our guys, some of them were completely railroaded for no reason at all. And we're going to stick up for them.
I'm curious too, just how this departure, with him not making a statement now, and we'll see when that happens, but what this does just for that period of time with those players that were around the program, then how are they going to honor Fran? How are they going to honor those teams moving forward, those players? What do you think, Castle? Like, can they do that moving forward now? Is it going
to
have to take some time, obviously?
It's going to be up to the McCaffrey family. And I don't know how they're going to come back and react to this. Or I'm not sure that they will want any kind of relationship with the University of Iowa moving forward, at least not for quite some time, because I get the sense that they feel like they were completely wronged by this, that they are the victims, and in no way should he have been fired. So I don't know that they're going to want a relationship with the university.
I hope that over time that changes. You had 2 sons that played there.
Mm-hmm.
You raised your whole family there. You were there for 15 years. He did bring the program back from
He
dead.
did a lot of good.
Saw a nice comment from Chris Street's family that was floating around the internet. Like, it's not all bad. The problem is you are often judged by how you handle adversity. Like, everything's great when things are going well. How do you handle, and the tweets and stuff the other day, but it's just
it was
like
even infighting amongst it appeared assistant coaches. I mean, it was really sad. I'm not going to mention the assistant coach's name, but I put out a tweet about Matt Gatens, who is an assistant coach, who I have always had so much respect for. I think he's an all-time Hawkeye because he committed under Alford. He came during Licklider. He stayed for Fran. He led by example, 2-time captain, great player, great guy. I think he should be given a chance to stay, and I think he might if it's Darian DeVries, because he's been on Darian DeVries' staff at Drake. I think that would be a perfect fit for Gatens to stay and be elevated.
And that also helps with holdover players.
Absolutely. And one of the other assistant coaches responded to that tweet with a laughing face LOL. Like, laughing at the fact that I believe Matt Gatens should be given another chance on the next coaching staff, that he's good enough to be retained. That tweet was deleted as well. Like, what?
I deleted a tweet of mine the other day. I'm guilty of this too. Tweeting when you get too hot.
Sure. And I feel bad for a lot of these guys. Like, they're getting, like, they're not getting the parachute that Fran is.
No.
But come on, this is one of your own guys.
The Murphy story that was all I ever needed. The technicals and stuff never bothered me.
No.
Kind of like that. It really didn't.
In fact, at first, I loved all of that stuff because Iowa fans needed that coming out of the Licklider era. Let's get mad again.
And it was entertaining.
It was.
Like, the whole coaches versus cancer thing was my...
And that was, what year was that? That was a long time ago. That was like 2018.
I can tell you. It was during the Prom era, I think. So whenever that was. Early on in that era for Iowa State. Drake's had so many guys, it's hard to remember who was there. Probably Nico. No, Nico was only there for a year. It's probably that guy before him.
Yeah.
Speaking of that, I'm hearing he's getting Minnesota.
That seems like it's going to happen. He got Colorado State into the tournament. They won the...
Remember, I told you I would consider him if I were Iowa. If you couldn't have gotten DeVries, that would have been a guy I absolutely make a call to. He can coach. It sounds like Ali Farouk Manesh will probably get that Colorado State job.
He does, because he's been on staffs for quite a while.
So
maybe the coach in waiting at Northern Iowa, but shoot, if you're going to get the job at Colorado State, Northern Iowa is a pretty big step down from that.
Yeah. Northern Iowa is in the NIT, by the way. That came out yesterday.
Have you seen the list of schools in the NIT this year? Matt,
I
think the NIT tweeted it out, and it would just had all the logos of the teams that are in it. I think there's only like 2 power conference teams in it. It's all mid-majors.
Yeah, and they're playing SMU, so that's one of the power conference teams.
Yeah, out of the ACC, brand new.
It doesn't really feel like a power conference team. Actually, and we did just get a text. I don't think this is surprising to anyone, but that Harding just announced that he's going in the portal. I mean, you just assume all of these guys are in the portal, and you don't overreact to it because this is what you do in 2025.
Right. And even if you go in the portal, you can come back. I mean, I think everybody kind of knew Freeman was gone no matter what.
Yes.
Like, even if Fran stayed, Freeman was gone. I would expect at least 80, 90% of this roster to go into the portal, but some of them could come back.
So when did he announce that he was injured or going to have surgery or whatever?
Oh, that was what,
February?
midway through the Big Ten season?
Yeah.
It was certainly after.
I saw some chatter talking about, like, oh, did he quit on his team too? I don't know if that's the case, but I don't know.
Well, Fran claimed that he needed the surgery.
Yeah,
I don't know either, because I've heard a lot of the stuff on Freeman. I think he was. I don't know about the injury, but I think he was going to be leaving no matter what after this season.
Yeah,
because he's going to get a big payday. Like, he's going to be a guy that's probably going to make over $1 million next year, wherever he ends up, and it's going to be, I think, a pretty big time school.
Look good in Ames.
Well, a lot of people hoping Josh Dix comes to Ames as well. I know
I
that's
would
been
love
a
to have
rumor
Josh
out
Dix.
there. Look,
I've always been a Josh Dix fan.
I just hope these guys give Beth Goetz a chance to get this new coach in here. And if it's Darian DeVries, I think you have a great opportunity to.
This is so great for Iowa that they
It
missed
is.
the tournament.
So Tucker, I believe, played with the Sanfords at Waukee.
He did.
So
I forgot
right
about
there,
that.
you should keep Price. Well, I mean, that doesn't hurt in helping to keep Price Sanford. I don't know about Harding. Harding's a guy that, look, he's got a big heart.
Yeah, I don't know if he's
but
really.
He's not big on the court. So he's done
wanna...
some good things, but I don't know.
He wouldn't be a bad glue guy to keep around, but he's not going to get you the second weekend difference maker.
The keys are Dix and Price Sanford. Those are the two guys that you
assuming Freeman's just gone.
Yeah, and I think he is. Those are the two guys you really want to keep.
Thank our friends from Freedom Tire. So did you know that I'm driving to Milwaukee on?
Good, because last night in the group chat, you're like, I'm looking at flights to Milwaukee. What?
I was just.
There's no direct from Des Moines to Milwaukee, is there?
I was just looking around.
I guess you could fly to Chicago and drive up. I don't know.
It's a beautiful drive to Milwaukee.
Minneapolis, too.
What are you doing?
A beautiful drive. What? If you go through northern Iowa, maybe?
Yeah.
Okay.
Bluffs?
What do you think? I've got time to just bebop and scat all over the state? This
Hit
isn't
up
this
Potosi Brewing,
this
80s brewery.
I did that the last time we went to Milwaukee, actually. I was so pissed, and they were closed because I went on a Monday, and it was closed. So I didn't even get to go in it.
Get some Spotted Cow up there, the best beer in the
Well,
world.
so that's why in our little Freedom Tire, because Daddy's going to be driving down the road, baby. I got a long trip coming up and, get serviced at Freedom Tire, so I feel pretty confident that the old Silverado's going to make it and will be good there.
Can I make you a little, a beer list to pick me up
absolutely.
over there? Okay,
whatever
thank
you need, I'll pick it up for you. Is Spotted Cow overrated?
It probably is, but man, I like it. I like it's the fact that you can only get it there. Oh, I love some cream. It's the fact that you can only get it there. Like, people loved the idea of Yuengling back when you could only get it, like in Pennsylvania and in places out on the East Coast. Now that you can get it pretty much anywhere. I don't know if it's in Iowa yet, but it's certainly down here.
So I did go to that brewery.
What, Yuengling?
No, the Spotted Cow one, New Glarus.
Oh, New Glarus, yeah. No good.
It was no.
You weren't impressed?
I like what's the other one? The Moon Man. I like that beer better. You ever had a Moon Man from?
Is
New
it
Glarus?
Is it an IPA?
It's like a milk stout, right? I like that one.
No.
Milk stout?
No, it's not a milk stout.
Isn't it a stout?
No, it's like a pale ale, I think.
Oh yeah, okay.
It's
a good brewery.
I went to the brewery though, and I tried a bunch of their beers. Other than those two, pretty mid.
Yes.
Okay.
It's a
JT the Nut says Moon Man is an IPA.
What?
No, it's a pale ale. I swear it's a pale ale.
Well, IPA is
okay.
Kind of a pale ale. It's an American pale ale, right?
Yes. Your dad wants me to stop by his house on the way to
Yeah,
Milwaukee.
have you mapped out the drive? Are you going to drive through the bluffs, or are you going to go that...
I'm going as fast as I can because
Interstate
I got to
80.
get the media on Wednesday. I'm going to leave at like 4 o'clock in the morning. That's my plan.
You're leaving at 4 a.m.?
4 or 5 in the morning. Yep. Because I got to get there when the
On
team
which
gets
day?
there. Wednesday.
Okay. What have we figured out what we're doing with Thursday's pod?
I thought we're going to have to probably do it Wednesday evening.
Wednesday evening. Oh, you good with that, Van Winks?
I'm waiting to
in.
get media schedule, and then I'll let you guys know.
Okay.
So, yeah, it's doing old roadie. I knew you would have I figured you would have a take on Spotted Cow because I already have people like.
I
Van Wink
loved it
texting
when
me
I
like,
would
"Hey,
have a
give me
few
12-pack."
over at Andy's house. Andy would go to Wisconsin and bring back some Spotted Cow.
The last time I did this, I went to Potosi, and I was very disappointed.
Isn't that Andrew Downs' family brewery?
Yeah, so listen to this. I still feel bad about this.
Oh, no. What did you do?
Well, so I go to Potosi, and I want to see
It's
it.
the Downs family brewery.
Well, I have the Potosi signs. I love the Potosi beer, all that stuff because of the Downs thing. And they're closed. So I go to like a VFW across the street, which is the only, and I'm going to have some lunch there. And I'm talking to the bartender as I order like a burger or something. And I go, yeah, I came here to go to Potosi, and it was closed. And I came in, and the bartender was like a total dick about it. And was basically like, yeah, their beer sucks anyways. Like, something like that. I'm paraphrasing. And I was like, wow, like that's pretty bold of you. Like, feel like you probably get a lot of tourism because of that place, whatever. Well, I told Downs about it, and I think if I remember correctly, Downs' dad, because he's like the goddamn mayor there, Tom can just, he says jump and people say how high when Tom Downs speaks.
Uh-huh.
And Don, I think may have gotten, not Don, Tom, I think he may have gotten that guy fired.
Wait, got him fired from the VFW? Wait, was this a veteran?
I don't know.
Wow.
I remember he had very dry skin. It was uncomfortably dry. And it's like a Monday afternoon. All I want is a, Potosi Red. Well, I just want to look at my phone, working on my bracket. And this guy couldn't have been a bigger dick about it. So, and I'm like, oh, this is content. I'm a younger guy. So I start tweeting about it, and I go on Murph and Andy that day. I'm like, this goddamn, this guy is talking shit about your brewery, Downs.
God, how do I not remember this?
Yeah, and I'm pretty sure Tom got on the phone with that VFW, and I think that they may have severed ways with this guy.
Williams cannot go out in public and not have like a normal day. It's unbelievable.
Yeah, I have.
Like, you always are in a confrontation with somebody.
I work with a guy who's like that. Pete Prisco, our NFL guy. He's covered the NFL for like 40 years at CBS. Anytime he goes somewhere, it's always something like that. We go out on a golf court. We play golf together, and he's getting into it with the Rangers. He's getting into it with a starter. Even one time I was golfing with him, and somebody else hit a shot that went way left and landed on top of a golf cart that was parked at another tee box. And it wasn't Pete. It was someone else. But the guys on the tee box looked and saw Pete and went like threw their arms up in the air. He's like, "It wasn't me, you goddamn son of a bitch. You want to fight?" Always. I love guys like that, though. You always claim you're such an introvert, but you go out in public and you're just bringing it on.
Lane is watching on YouTube. He says, I am a veteran. Thank you for your service, Lane. He goes.
He also says half the guys at the VFWs are assholes.
I mean, this guy was not pleasant. And again, it was like, how many people? Because you got to like try to get to Potosi. If you've ever done, like, it's not like it's like, oh, it's right off the road here. You have to go down this. The one thing I remember about going there is you could get no cell phone service at all. Because Potosi's like, it's like at the bottom of this like hill. You got to be seeking this place out. And this guy could just not have been shittier about the brewery that everybody's coming to see.
Peter's comparing you to the McCaffreys. He said you pulled a McCaffrey against the vets. Just got him fired. Hey, we got to do Triple B.
Let's go. Triple B, Kelderman Manufacturing.
Bigger, better, bolder. Built by Kelderman Manufacturing.
God. By the way, we're wanting a few updates here about that cowboy I met in Kansas City.
Yeah, you couldn't stop talking about it.
That guy was an employee at the hotel.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay.
The one that looked like Doc Holliday. Because the next day, we're checking out, he's wearing the exact same outfit. Like the Western tie, had the hat on.
Was it a Western-themed hotel?
No.
Is he like the doorman?
What was that?
Was he the doorman?
No. I think he was in charge of breakfast.
Oh, lovely.
Did you get him fired too?
I did not. Matt, you already had something pulled up. I'll let you start.
Oh, yeah. I got to give a shout out. Well, quick, we got to see Kelderman
yeah.
on Saturday.
Yeah, look at
Jesus,
that.
how
Kelderman.
tiny is Keith? We know Williams has shrunk a ton since taking the tee. Look how small he makes Keith look.
Yep, that's Kelderman and his lovely wife. They came to our party on Hassel. We don't need to. Hassel was a total dick to me on
What do you
Saturday.
mean? What
you
did I
sent
do?
me that text message, flipping me off, cursing me out while I was at our party with our friends from Circa Sports on Saturday, and I got your email done. Everything was taken care of.
It's about goddamn
but
time.
you had to be a dick.
Been trying to get Williams to respond to this email for like a week and a half.
No, not a week and a half, like 3 days, you maniac.
It's pretty good. 3 days.
What's funny, I was going to give our Triple B to our whole crew at Iowa.
Yeah, go for it.
Because I just thought that the coverage of the McCaffrey thing was just top notch by everybody. Matt, you were producing.
I was really proud of everybody coming together for that. That was really cool.
Well, and then Saturday night, this was a thing with Circa coming, and we had so many people show up, and we didn't have to. It doesn't have to be that way. Nobody was required to be there. Right, and it was just really cool. I love everybody on our team, and I was so proud of that coverage on Friday. I was literally choked up watching it on my phone, walking around that effing science place with my kids. That's my Triple B. Is this is a dream. This started as a dream, and watching it become a reality. Just all my best friends and just so many talented people. It's just really, really special. So
wish I could have been there with you guys. That looked like a lot of fun.
Yeah,
it was
we'll
fun
just keep
seeing the guys
scheduling
from
parties
Circa.
when you can't come.
What'd you say?
I said we're just going to keep scheduling parties when Hassel can't come.
It was fun talking with those guys from Circa. Vegas has got some fun stuff coming. I got WrestleMania coming up in April, and
yeah,
the Crown.
Vegas, it's crazy how 5 to 10 years has changed that place in the best way possible. With all the pro sports, the A's are going there now. The Formula One race. There's so much cool stuff in Vegas.
My Triple B is Beth Goetz. What an incredible start. And if she pulls off this Darian DeVries hiring and gets together all the money, because this is about $10 million that she's having to get together to get Fran out the door and buy out Darian DeVries as well. And it doesn't stop there. Then you have to pay Darian DeVries. Then you have to raise money for the men's basketball program. Great start. She hit the ground running by making a very, very difficult decision on telling Kirk Ferentz, your son has to go. And that has worked out with Tim Lester. And now this. This doesn't happen if Gary Barta's still there.
No, this was a decisive leadership decision. Mm-hmm. And she just went for it.
And it's hers. She did it. It's the right call. And I think she's going to bring the right coach in here to turn this men's basketball program around. Couldn't be more impressed with Beth Goetz.
I also want to add to it. I was thinking about this over the week because I've seen a lot of people on not many, but some people are like, yeah, well, this could end up. It's like, be careful what you wish for. Like the whole Tom is a thing. No, you can't look at life that way. You can't just settle in everything. Do you want to try and be good or not? Because even with McCaffrey, the dude was not getting you to where you wanted. He had 15 years. There were no signs that this thing was getting turned around.
It was only going to get worse because next year would be far worse with fans.
Yeah. Even if the next guy comes in and fails, you have to try.
Mm-hmm.
So that's a loser's mentality. Do not go at it like that. Sure, it could get worse. But you never know unless you try. You are Iowa. You are in the Big Ten. You have a medical school. There is money there. You're not some poverty program that can't afford to compete at the highest level. Try. So
a lot of people that make the Licklider argument, it's like, well, look what it was before Fran. The Licklider era lasted 3 years. That was not an accurate reflection of what the Iowa men's basketball program was before Fran McCaffery. It was a 3-year period. He had to turn that ship around, and it was down big time. And he did it. Great. But look, Iowa men's basketball, as we've talked about, was every bit as big as Iowa football for my entire childhood, all through the 80s and 90s. Every bit as big, maybe in some cases even bigger. And right now it is an afterthought behind football, behind wrestling, behind women's basketball. And it was going to stay that way if Fran McCaffery stayed in that position. Had to happen.
Maddie, you got one?
Yeah, real quick. Shout out to the Madrid boys basketball team. Won their first state title over the weekend, 1A. Went undefeated this year. Capped it off with the state title at the Well. Pretty cool.
Wow.
Look at that. The whole town showed up.
They're always really good in football, or at least they were when I was there. But yeah, never before in basketball. That's cool.
Look at that scene. That's so cool.
Love it. So is that it? Wells Fargo Arena wide open now after wrestling, girls state basketball, boys state basketball. Now it's wide open.
They got a loaded lineup. Did you see what they announced last week?
What do we
Williams,
got?
I know you saw this.
We got pro wrestling coming.
SmackDown.
Yeah.
Followed by UFC Fight Night.
Williams and Sipka are going to be scissoring each other watching this thing.
And it's a great card, too.
Uh-huh.
So
really
what
good.
night is UFC? That's May the what?
That is May 3rd. So we're literally going to go from SmackDown to UFC back-to-back nights.
Oh, my God.
Look at that.
Great.
Friday night, SmackDown. Saturday, UFC.
Jeremy Stevens is going to be there, too, Des Moines guy. Oh, I'm so fired up for this.
Hey, real quick, let me promote this, too. We have a contest that we just launched on IowaEverywhere.com with our friends at the Iowa Event Center. Bert Kreischer, do you guys know this guy?
I've seen him. He looks familiar.
He's the guy
I
stand up
see.
with
He's
his
always
shirt off.
shirtless.
He's on a lot of those
have his shirt
roasts,
off?
too. Why? He's got the bod for it.
He does. He's on the tee.
So we're giving away 3 pairs of tickets on IowaEverywhere.com. The show is not till December 11th, but tickets are on sale right now, HiVTix.com. But you can win a pair. But we're also, get this, guys, we're giving away a VIP package, 4 tickets, $100 to a local restaurant. All people have to do is show us how they like to party on Twitter.
Show
or
us
Facebook.
how they like to party?
Yeah.
Okay.
How do you like to party?
All right. How do you like to party?
Show me.
us.
Tailgating. I don't know. Down in the basement. Drinking whiskey. Drinking some Steeple Ridge.
All right.
Yeah.
Show us how you like to party.
Pretty general.
Pretty general. All right. Well, Matt, new All Access coming up this week, right?
Yep. Recording today.
Very cool. Thank you, brother. Appreciate all your work. Hassel, same to you. The plan is we'll record on Wednesday at some point for our Thursday show. Pointless to do it Thursday morning, right? And I'm going to have media Thursday morning.
I can't do it Thursday morning either. I'm going into work early. I'm doing an early show leading into the tournament. So,
Gotcha. All right. So yeah, that we'll keep you guys updated. But big day today, Overthinking at noon. Murph and Andy at 1. We already have a new Legends and Listen, which sounds spicy.
yeah.
I'll be in for AD today.
Oh, Maddie's in for.
He's
Yep.
skiing in Colorado, so I'll be filling in.
That's
Oh,
just-
yeah.
These ski trips, you just feel like.
Be careful. Be real careful if you go skiing.
I saw that
because
Amanda blew out her knee.
complete carnage
I felt
for Amanda.
terrible for her.
And
This is why I don't ski, because I
torn
know.
ACL, torn meniscus, torn, I think, MCL, complete knee reconstruction.
Is she working still, or does she have to take some
She
time
can't,
off?
like, she's like grounded at home. Like, she can't even move, basically.
Have you gone to see her? Have you
She's
sent her
about
have
10
you
days
sent her a-
post-surgery, I think.
Have you sent her a warm meal?
We did pool our monies together to get her a huge Uber Eats gift card.
Oh, that's nice. So she can get all the Outback she wants.
Oh, yeah. God, I haven't done that in a while.
When I come down there, can we get some Outback?
I think we could do that. I think we'd fit that in.
Giddy up. He is Chris Hassel. My name is Chris Williams. Maddie Van Winkle is the producer of Two Guys, always presented by Fareway Meat and Grocery in the Channel Seed Studios. Thank you so much for tuning in. Remember, the Overthinking of Murph and Andy is at 12 and at 1 here on Iowa Everywhere.